Okay, so since we've learned about the area of shapes, now we can learn about how to do the volume, which is for three-dimensional objects. So the first one that we're going to learn about is cylinders. So when you think of cylinders, normally most people think about this shape right here with the circular bases. But a cylinder is actually a three-dimensional object that has two congruent parallel faces called bases. These bases have parallel lines joining them at corresponding points. If a cylinder's bases are polygons, then it's considered a prism. So things like this right here are considered a prism. So we have a rectangular prism, and this is called a cube since all of the faces and the bases are squares. So the first one that we're going to try to figure out the volume for is a prism. So to find the volume of a prism, you must first find the area of the base. So once you found that, then you can multiply it by the prism's height. So right here we have the base, and if we were to multiply this like we normally do for the base's area, then we would do 3 because there's 3 of these cubes times 2. So 3 times 2 is 6. And then we'd multiply that number, this is the area of the base, by the height. So right here we have the height of the prism. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4 as the height. So 6 times 4 equals 24. And that would be our volume for this prism. And since it is in a volume and it's a three-dimensional figure, then it's going to be cubed units rather than just the squared like we would have for the answer for the base. So that's the volume formula for the rectangular prism. So we're going to do an example of that. So we have the volume equals area of the base times height. And first we have to find the area of the base, so we're going to do base times height for that. So here I've identified the base and the height. So we have the base right here, 8 inches, and the height is 4 inches. And then we're going to do the area of that. So we have 8 times 4. We get that is 32 inches. We can't forget our units since that one is just doing the area. It's going to be square units. And then we're going to take that area of the base times the height, which is right here, 2 inches. And that's how we're going to get our volume. So we're going to plug that in, 32 inches for the area of the base times the height, 2 inches. And then once we calculate that, we're going to get 64 inches cubed since it is a volume three-dimensional shape. So next we're going to go on to the cylinder volume, and this one is pretty much just the same as we did it for the circle, but we're just going to multiply it by the height. So first thing we have to do again is get the area. So area of this shape, our base, the circle, is pi r squared, and as you can see our r right here is 3 centimeters. So we're going to plug that in. So area equals pi times 3 squared. And once we calculate that, we have our area as 28.27 centimeters squared, since it's the area. So we're going to take that information that we just learned, and then we're going to use that to find our volume. So volume equals area of the base times height. So our area of our base is 28.27 centimeters squared, and we have our height of our cylinder right here, and it is 10 centimeters. So we're going to plug that into our equation, and our volume equals 28.27 centimeters squared, can't forget that unit, times 10 centimeters. So then once we multiply that together, then we're going to find our volume, and that is 282.7 centimeters cubed, since this is a three-dimensional object.